If your dog is excessively licking their paws, especially between the toes, especially right now in spring, you have probably tried a few things already. You have wiped the paws after walks. You may have tried an antihistamine. You may have used a medicated shampoo or a cone to stop the behavior. And the licking keeps coming back. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 specific steps you can start this week. One that addresses the gut, one that addresses inflammation from the inside, and one topical remedy you can make in your kitchen in 5 minutes that targets the bacterial and yeast components directly. None of these is a cure, but together they address the paw licking at 3 different levels simultaneously. And most owners notice a meaningful difference within 5 to 7 days. I'm Dr. Ghanem, veterinarian, PhD in veterinary microbiology and immunology. Understanding how bacteria and yeast interact with a dysregulated immune system is exactly what my training and research background covers. Paw licking is one of the most frustrating symptoms to manage because it is visible, audible, and relentless. You can hear it at night. You watch your dog interrupt themselves mid-rest to go back to the same paw. You have probably been told it is allergies, which is technically true, but that explanation does not tell you what to do about it beyond suppressing the immune response. What most owners are not told is what is actually happening at the skin level when the licking becomes excessive and why the licking itself makes the problem worse. When a dog licks a paw repeatedly, the moisture, warmth, and mechanical disruption of the skin barrier creates ideal conditions for 2 organisms to proliferate: bacteria, particularly staphylococcus, and yeast, particularly malassezia. Create ideal conditions for 2 organisms to proliferate: bacteria, especially staphylococcus, and yeast, especially malassezia. The licking triggers secondary infection. The secondary infection intensifies the itch, and the intensified itch drives more licking. It is a self-reinforcing cycle. Breaking that cycle requires addressing it from more than one direction. That is exactly what these 3 steps do. Step 1. Support the gut. I covered the gut-immune connection in detail in the seasonal allergies video on this channel. The short version is this: the immune system's ability to mount a calibrated, proportionate response to the environmental triggers, including the triggers that start the itch-lick cycle, depends on the health of the gut microbiome. A depleted, dysbiotic gut produces an overreactive immune system. An overreactive immune system over-responds to pollen, to food proteins, to the bacteria already living on the skin. The simplest gut support addition you can make this week is plain unsweetened kefir. 1 or 2 tablespoons for a small dog, 2 to 3 tablespoons for a medium to large dog. Add it to the food once daily. Kefir is a fermented dairy product containing live cultures of lactobacillus and other beneficial bacteria. It introduces microbial diversity directly into the gut. Also, it contains natural antimicrobial compounds, including lactic acid, that help shift the balance away from the gram-negative bacteria that drive inflammatory signaling. This is not a quick fix. The microbiome takes weeks to months to shift meaningfully, but you are starting the process. And every day you add kefir to the bowl are moving the gut environment in the direction of better immune regulation. Step 2. Address inflammation from the inside with quercetin. Quercetin is a bioflavonoid, a naturally occurring plant compound found in high concentrations in capers, red onions, and berries. It has 2 properties that are directly relevant to paw licking dog. First, it is natural anti-inflammatory. It inhibits the release of histamine from mast cells, the immune cells responsible for the immediate hypersensitivity that you see driving allergic itching. Second, it has antioxidant properties that reduce oxidative stress in inflamed tissue. Unlike antihistamine medication, quercetin does not suppress immune function broadly. It modulates a specific part of the inflammatory cascade, the mast cell degranulation step, without dampening the immune system's overall ability to respond to genuine threats. Quercetin is available as a supplement. It is also available through food. Adding blueberries, for example, provides a modest natural source. The supplement form delivers a more consistent dose. As with any supplement, introduce gradually and monitor for any digestive response in the first few days. Step 3. The topical remedy. This is the step that addresses the paw licking at the skin surface. the secondary bacterial and yeast component that the licking itself has created, and you can make it in your kitchen right now. Here's the recipe. Steep 1 cup of green tea for 20 minutes. Allow it to cool completely to room temperature. This is important. You do not want to apply warm solution to an already inflamed skin. Add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to the cool tea and mix. That's it. 2 ingredients. Here is why each one matters. Green tea contains polyphenol compounds with well-documented antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties. They disrupt bacterial cell membranes, inhibit biofilm formation, and reduce the local inflammatory response in the skin. Steeped for 20 minutes, green tea produces a significantly higher concentration of these compounds than a standard 2-minute steep. Apple cider vinegar creates an acidic environment on the skin surface. Most pathogenic bacteria and Malassezia yeast thrive at a slightly alkaline to neutral pH. Lowering the local pH with dilute acetic acid disrupts their ability to colonize. It does not kill them on contact the way pharmaceutical antifungal does, but it shifts the skin environment away from conditions that favor their growth. Together, these 2 ingredients address 2 aspects of the secondary infection cycle: the bacterial load and the yeast permissive pH environment. To apply, soak a piece of gauze in the mixture. Wipe thoroughly between the pads. These are the micro-environments where the moisture accumulates and where the bacterial and yeast overgrowth is most concentrated. Apply twice daily. Do this for 7 to 14 days consistently. You will not stop the licking immediately. The itch that is driving the behavior takes a few days to reduce as the bacterial and yeast burden decreases. Most owners notice a meaningful reduction in licking within 5 days of consistent twice daily application. The free guide on why chronic symptoms keep returning and what actually addresses the root cause is at drghanem.com. Link is in the description. I want to put these 3 steps in biological context so they make sense as a system rather than 3 separate tips. Excessive paw licking in spring is almost never a single cause problem. It has a root: gut dysregulation and immune overreactivity. It has a trigger: seasonal environmental antigens. And it has a secondary driver: the bacterial and yeast overgrowth that the licking itself creates. A treatment approach that addresses only the trigger, antihistamine, topical, for example, suppresses the immediate response without touching the root or the secondary driver. A treatment approach that addresses only the surface, such as antifungal shampoos, topical steroids, reduces the secondary infection without changing the immune environment that made the dog susceptible to it in the first place. These 3 steps work at all 3 levels simultaneously. Kefir addresses the root, the gut microbiome that produces the immune system's regulatory capacity. Quercetin addresses the trigger response, the mast cell degranulation that drives histamine-mediated itch. The topical remedy addresses the secondary driver, the bacterial and yeast overgrowth that perpetuates the licking cycle. This is what a root cause approach to paw licking actually looks like, and not one intervention, a layered response that matches the layered nature of the problem. Here's where I stand. These 3 steps will not resolve chronic paw licking permanently on their own. They will give your dog meaningful relief this week. They will begin shifting the gut environment that is contributing to the immune overreactivity. They will disrupt the secondary infection cycle that is keeping the itch-licking loop running. But the deeper work, rebuilding the gut microbiome over months, addressing the diet that is feeding chronic inflammation, understanding which specific input your dog's immune system has become sensitized to, is a longer process. And it is the process that produces lasting changes rather than manage suppression. What I can tell you is that these 3 steps are where the longer process begins. Every dog I have seen make meaningful improvement in seasonal reactivity over time started with exactly this kind of layered gut-first approach. Start here, watch the response, and build from it. Here's your action plan for this week. Today, make the green tea and apple cider vinegar solution. Apply to the affected paw twice, once before bed. Note the current severity of the licking so you have a baseline to compare against in 5 days. Tomorrow, add kefir to the food bowl. Start with a small amount, 1 teaspoon if your dog has a sensitive stomach, and build to the full serving over 3 to 4 days. This week, source a quercetin supplement appropriate for your dog's weight. Continue the topical application twice daily for 7 to 14 days without missing a day. The consistency matters more than the quantity. A thin, thorough wipe twice daily outperforms a heavy soak once daily every time. By day 5, note what you have seen. Is the licking less frequent? Is the skin between the toes less red? Is your dog sleeping through without interrupting to lick? These are the signals that the secondary infection is reducing and the itch is starting to resolve. Keep the kefir going beyond the 2 weeks. That is a long-term gut support addition, not a short course. If the paw licking is part of a larger pattern, recurring skin issues, ear infections, gut problems that come and go with the seasons, those symptoms are connected. They are coming from the same root. I'm putting something together specifically for that dog and that owner. It is called the itchy dog. It is built for owners who are done managing symptoms and ready to address the root cause with a structured program, guided support, and direct access to me over 3 months. It is not available yet, but if you get on the list at drgunaim.com, you will hear about it first. Link is in the description. The free guide on why chronic symptoms keep returning is there too. That is the right place to start right now.